the COVID-19 pandemics just has accelerated certain trends which we had seen before and which actually were discussed in Davos this year, like the lack of inclusion, the lack of paying sufficient attention to the environment.
I probably have listened to this guy speak for like 2 hours to try to figure out what the fuck he's talking about. Lack of inclusion, lack of paying attention to the environment. I mean, the list just goes on. Just stay with me here and we'll go through them.
So what we will see now is acceleration of those trends. And of course, a unique opportunity to reset our global agenda, to do something about all those negative developments. I include also the lack of international cooperation.
So accelerating the trends of lack of inclusion and lack of paying attention to the environment, which is a unique opportunity to reset the global agenda and do something about these negative developments.
And let's recreate a global framework which really is in line with the requirements of a society in the 21st century.
So just more buzzwords, recreating global framework for the 21st century?
The virus, pandemics, has reminded us how interdependent we are in the world, how we are part of a global destiny, a common global destiny.
So we're interdependent and we're part of a common global destiny.
On the other hand, the virus also has demonstrated that we need more resilience. And interdependence also creates greater risks. So what we will see is hopefully, on the one hand, more globalization. On the other hand, probably with the redefinition of supply chains and so on, we will also see some aspects of deglobalization.
Just everything he talks about is the same. Need more resilience, more globalization, but more deglobalization, interdependence and supply chains, and resetting global agenda through the environment and inclusion and responsiveness.
We need to build a more resilient world, and the virus is just a call for action. You have other big risks which we have alerted to in our risk report, like a cyber attack and, of course, the whole issue of global warming. So I hope that this COVID crisis will create sufficient drive for each government to be more open for global cooperation.
Okay, so there's more resilience, and then we're going to have a cyber attack and global warming and a drive for governments to be more open to global cooperation.
Because without the global cooperation, we cannot solve those issues which have a dimension which is transporter and doesn't stop at any artificial line.
Dimension, which is transbobo, and borders are artificial lines. Got that?
China has moved out first, and of course, based on its specific structure, governmental structure, it was able to apply, let's say, more directive measures to get the virus under control. So what we see now is China moving very fast out of the crisis, other countries lagging behind, other countries which have more emphasis on personal freedom, have more difficulties to get control over the virus.
So China did really good. They're communist and they welded people shut in their homes and they had a dance party back in August, and that was good. But personal freedom, countries with personal freedom, they did bad, really bad.
Hopefully, that's part of the global reset, to recreate the dialogue, because the challenges, as I said already, are global and require global cooperation to be addressed.
This all the time. Reset the global dialogue, because global cooperation is good and global problems require global solutions.
The whole repatriation of production capabilities, the wish of each country to become less dependent on other countries, as far as crucial elements of the economy, like in the health systems, are concerned. Then, of course, we have also a widening gap between the emerging countries and the more advanced countries again. So the tendency is that global tension will increase. But again, we have to lean back.
So just the whole repatriation of the production capabilities, and we're less dependent on other countries, but we're interdependent in the health systems and emerging countries and the gap between advanced countries.
We have to make every effort to bring the people around the same table to have some discussing those issues, which actually are essential if we don't want to have an intergenerational revolution long term, because the young generation will certainly remind us of any mistakes which we may make, and we see it already in certain social unrest movements around the world.
So bring the people to the same table so we can discuss the issues, lest the young generation gets mad at us. People like Greta Thunberg will get mad at us because we didn't take care of the environment. We had these social unrest movements. And here's where things get really weird. I mean, this is just the whole using language to control the mind. This is another example of how they're, planning to call the vaccine side effects responses instead of side effects. There's just a whole bunch of weird stuff in here. Like, why wouldn't we want to call it the coronavirus? We got to call it the pandemic now, because the coronavirus, everybody knows it's just a cold. So we can't call it the coronavirus. So we want to eliminate or eradicate the virus. We don't want to defeat it or crush it or knock it out. That's no good. Physical distancing, that's no good, because social distancing is better. Physical distancing reminds you that you are physically distant from people, which you are. So we have an effective, safe vaccine, not a vaccine that was just developed haphazardly, quickly, just rolled out in less than a year's time and just slapped together. Nah, that's no good. We have an effective, safe vaccine. We also have protocols, because it's not orders, it's not imperatives, it's not decrees, because this is not a totalitarian thing we're doing, guys. This is not a totalitarian measure of control over your life in any way. So this is the website where all this stuff comes from. It's debeaumont.org, and they hired Frank Luntz, an American political and communication specialist, for Newt Gingrich's contract with America and public relations support for pro-Israel policies in the Palestinian conflict. And so this is how to have a national conversation on COVID-19, the pandemic. Remember, not the coronavirus. We got fact-based, alert, responsible, impactful words, guys. I mean, the virus is serious, and we're going to tell you how to talk about it. So first of all, we're going to dig into Frank Luntz's portfolio and just check out like some of the cool stuff that he's worked on in the past, because there's a lot of really interesting work that Frank Luntz has done. He interviewed Ted Cruz and Beto O'Rourke, and then Roy Moore supporters, and then he talked to voters before the 2016 election. I mean, this guy is a PR specialist. He's an expert, and he's going to tell you how to change the COVID conversation by listing words to lose and words to use. So I think right now is the communication sheet. Yeah, the COVID communications chart. So you want to use some words more, and you want to use just some words less, Just, it says this poll, changing the COVID conversation, reflects the views of 1,100 respondents, including an oversample of 300 African Americans. It highlights how much of the message and language being used by public health experts, states and local and White House is missing the mark and failing to motivate millions of Americans to get behind the life-saving public health precautions such as masking, testing, social distancing, not physical distancing. Because remember, you're not physically distant from people. That's all in your head. So just take a look at this. I mean, it's not frontline workers, it's essential workers, okay? They're essential. It's not national duty, it's personal responsibility, because this is a global solution to global problems, and globalism is the solution. Nationalism, bad. Globalism, good. So, government lockdowns, shutdowns, that's no good either. It's stay at home orders. Government health agencies, no good. It's public health agencies. I mean, just look how creepy this is. It's not facial coverings. It's face masks. It's just a mask, bro. It's just a mask. Just wear the mask. It's not like you're covering your face and you're just existing as floating eyeballs above a piece of fabric. It's not like that at all. It's not like a lockdown, like you're in prison. It's a stay-at-home order. You're just staying at home. Just a few more weeks, it's all good. Just stay at home. It's not a lockdown. You're not in prison. That's not what's going on here. Government health agencies, nah, it's public health agencies. This is the public and their health that we're looking out for. And you just want to emphasize, the science is settled. The science is very clear. I mean, these are, medical professionals. They're developing and preparing to distribute a safe and effective vaccine that will help us just return to normal day-to-day activities. Just trust the science. And then they give you a short script if you're just an absolute brainwashed moron and you need talking points to go to. They're going to give you some tips about how to address that. So if you want to remember this, you can just kind of put this in your head. If you can remember this short 2 sentences right here, you'll be good. We all have a responsibility to slow the spread of COVID-19. It is imperative that we protect each other by doing things like wearing masks and practicing social distancing so we can return to a strong economy and normal day-to-day activities. I mean, you guys can remember that. That's a go-to easy response. If somebody actually digs in, there's a longer script for you, and you may have to remember that or just put it in your phone, but you'll have it. And so you can use the approved language when somebody asks you about the indisputed science. So this is just about changing the COVID conversation, guys. This data reveals some insights here, and we can help build trust between the public and professional health experts and PR experts also, like Frank Luntz. I mean, he's a really cool guy who conducted this poll last week. And based on our findings, we need to remove politics and partisanship from this messaging. I mean, because the media hasn't done that at all. We just need to give Americans a better reason to comply other than because it's good for them. We just need to remind people that it's good for the people that they love and to get back to a normal life. That's what we're going to do. If you comply enough, they're going to let you go back to your normal life. We promise. So, you want to look this up, guys. It's debeaumont.org, DEBEAUMONT.org. So stay safe out there, guys. Change the COVID conversation. Use sample language for political and health leaders in your community. Use the good messaging because the bad messaging will harm your credibility. Keep your language neutral and always emphasize the good about this. Just, focus on the good. There's nothing bad going on here. We're just going to get a mask going, social distancing, almost said physical distancing. That'd be wrong. Just stay safe out there, guys. Couple more weeks, couple more, what if it's a couple more months, maybe? I mean, who cares if it's 5, 6 years? It just doesn't matter. Just stay safe out there. Use the language. Look it up. DEBEAUMONT.org. Frank Luntz is our man here. He's got a poll that he even polled 300 African Americans out of 1,100 people. So, I mean, that means he's totally down social justicely and all of that. And just trust the experts. stay safe. Like I said, please stay safe. It's a dangerous virus out there, and you want to make sure that you're wearing your mask. I wear mine to sleep. I'm going to bed very soon here, but I already got my mask ready to put on. I should be wearing it right now, but you guys take care. I'll see you later.
Transporter